Hey, what's up, Shar? What's up, Shane and Ashley? What up, Dre? Cheers, Dre. What's up, Rhea? Yeah, Chase is in the house. You guys got your drink? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, my computer is freezing a little bit.
She closed the windows. Make sure nothing's on Wi-Fi.
Mango Miguel's in the house. What it do? Oh, Josh Gillespie, all the way from the Bay Area. Happy Friday. All right. I hope everyone has their drink in their hand. What's up, Edwin? Andre, what you drinking?
Tequila and soda.
What kind of tequila?
1800
Hey, great minds.
with a little lime.
What we do here is go back.
I feel like we need someone dropping bars on these beats. No copyright music. Nice, Chase. We'll have to feature you dropping those bars one time. How would you build your business with no money? Let's get started. Hey, what's up, everybody? Zen here with ClosedWon. Welcome to the Happy Hour edition, where we can enjoy a nice cup of Joe, cover some basic sales tips, and interview some amazing entrepreneurs. So, if you're new here, consider subscribing. In the past year, we've gone on hiatus, and here's why.
2020 has not been a kind year.
Life is like a hurricane.
2020 gave us the opportunity to build ClosedWon, a sales meeting automation tool for first-time founders. And also, I was lucky enough to join a really cool startup called localize.com. For those of you ready to go global with your app, check them out. So let me ask you, how would you build your business with no money?
The big game is very simple. If I know one person that did it, then there's a blueprint. And so, obviously I knew it was coming here and I did a little searching. One guy's like, yo, I was homeless. I got $10 from handouts. I caught your video because he had a phone. My service was cut off a month later, so I lost you. I didn't have it, but I had the $10. I heard you. I went and bought $10 worth of water at the bodega, went outside, sold it, made 20, kept building, and he remembered the thrift store flip. He walked in, he had $47. He bought a pair of Jordans that were in the thrift store for $19. He sold them for $57 on eBay. He just kept going and going. He didn't care what people were saying when he sold water outside. He didn't care what people said when he was going into every thrift store. He didn't give a fuck. He just kept going and going, saved up enough to turn back on his service, get a year's worth of service. Now he's back on the internet. Now he's really flipping stuff on Instagram and Amazon and eBay. And he just kept going and he made thousands of dollars. Then he got an apartment. Like, my big thing is, what's your alternative? Like, what, are you gonna sit and fucking dwell?
When you have no money, how do you get started? Very simple. You get a fucking job. I don't care what job it is. Just get some money coming in, a little bit of money. Nothing wrong with that. I was working in a supermarket, making minimum wage, washing fucking like cleaning toilets and stocking cans on the shelves. I went through that period of time. What's wrong with that, right? You cannot just say, oh, I've got so much pride, I'm gonna be a fucking entrepreneur. Get a fucking job. You can't even get a fucking job for being an entrepreneur, right? Do that first. Then in your spare time, the side hustle, right? On the side, then you can start something on the side.
What's up, everyone? My full name is Andre de Vera. I've been doing SEO for about 15 years now, and I've been building websites for about 20 years. I mean, I was doing it in high school and then into college. I graduated in college with a multimedia and design degree. And then from there, that's when I learned SEO. And I was kind of like, not necessarily grandfathered into it, but it just became something that you learned being in the industry. People were trying to learn like how to drive traffic to your websites. And that was the only way to drive traffic at a certain time unless you had to pay for it. Now, I was a college kid, right? Sure. So I wasn't going to pay for traffic. And then for the same time, my website in college I was a party promoter. And like I was trying, like, how can I get more people to check out my website so I can get more people on the guest list to make my parties like cracking and everything. And so I found out SEO was the way to go. And if you search San Francisco nightlife, San Francisco parties, my parties were just off the hook during those times. So some good times. Yeah. So that's how I got started. Oh, yeah. And then from there, I mean, again, SEO was not an actual job. And now I'm back to what I love. Solely SEO, global SEO for a company called Workday.
Wonderful, wonderful.
He is currently a search marketing global lead at Workday while hosting and producing a new show called the SEO Video Show. If that isn't enough, he also is the president at Toastmasters Club. For SEO, he owns the first page rankings in Google for organic growth expert, personal brand SEO, and YouTube ranking factors. So please, help me welcome the founder of the SEO Video Show, the SEO man himself, Andre de Vera. Dre,
hey,
welcome
what's up?
to the show. Where are you? Oh, there you are.
No, there's a ghost. I see a ghost.
All right, live stream. Welcome to the show, man. I'm really excited to have you. So let's start from the very beginning. You were talking about being a party promoter. I'd like to know, why did you choose to become a party promoter? What mindset did you have when you were in high school? And with zero money, how did you get up and running?
First of all, thank you, Zen, for making me your very first guest on the ClosedWon show. So honored to be a part of it. I love your setup. Love how everything looks on what you have going on here too. So let's get on to like, what about me? I mean, you said back in high school. I'll take it back even further. I think I had an entrepreneur mindset when I was at elementary. Like it was one of those times where baseball cards were in at the time, right? It was one of those things where baseball cards were really hot. And I saw kids going to the liquor store spending like 50 cents to 75 cents a pack to buy a pack of baseball cards. And I realized when I went to like Costco one time with my dad, they're selling like these boxes of baseball cards with like 36 packs in them. And I thought to myself, if I sell them for like 50 cents, I could actually still make more money than actually had someone spending them at the liquor store. So I knew the value of like, making a profit and how to make money like that way. It's one of those things where you just kind of like see a demand and you fill it. And I knew that at a very, very young age. And, from there, then into elementary, and then I got into in high school, I actually didn't start doing parties yet. That was in college. In high school, I actually was doing more of like t-shirts. I actually later on we'll talk about maybe how I actually started my clothing brand with my brother, but I actually was doing t-shirts design. We used to have like these crews, back in days, like during the time I was like, when I was growing up, I was like, gang banging was huge. I wasn't into that stuff, but we had still like these little brotherhoods, these crews and stuff like that. And in order for us, instead of like representing colors, like we didn't represent blue, red, or anything like that, but we wore t-shirts like of the similar design to kind of represent us. And like my crew back then was called like Menace. And so I would have like a bunch of Menace designs. And then I already had an audience to buy it. Right? It was my crew. And I actually made a little money doing that by like selling the designs. I knew if I had to come up with a new design, like a new Menace design, I would have at least 30 buyers. And then, I'd sell it for maybe like $20. And at the time, that's how much shirts cost. And then for me, when I would get at wholesale, I would, probably only spend like $12, right? So that's the part where I kind of growing into more of like that design part and how I progressed my career. But now, onto like party promoting, man, that was something where it came out of the blue, because as you know, like I was talking about how I was into the design, right? And when I was doing design, I loved photography, and photography was something I actually did in high school. I did in college, and then from there, I was taking a bunch of photos of some models, right? And these models were like, I would find them at the clubs or, just like, not necessarily models, but I'd say, hey, you want to like pose for me for like, be my model for my, college photography. It was for my college class, I didn't go around like the campus and like scout like models. And then from that, I actually developed a website, and that was actually that featured models. I would actually post the pictures I posted of these models. Instead of paying them, I asked them, hey, can I just do an exchange and just use your photos for my portfolio and just put them online? And then it started like getting a lot of traffic. And then when I was going to parties, I would like invite these models, and then people saw me taking pictures at clubs. So I became like this club photographer at first. And then when people would use my photos, I would see my logo on every single photo, like on MySpace, on everyone's MySpace. The profile picture was having a logo that said Paul Andre Photography on there. And, going to all these clubs and, making like my name of myself, like, Paul Andre, people saw me walking around with these models around me all the time because, I was shooting models and recruiting them. I decided, someone asked like, hey, why don't you like do parties? You have like this, you have a following of everyone that knows who you are from like taking other people's photos and taking all these model photos. And I felt like I can combine the two. So like the attraction was to have throw nightclub parties with the models I shoot and have them come in all for free. And it attracted a huge, the amount of people. Like they became like I had, don't get me wrong, like this is like when we had go-go dancers and stuff like that. Yeah. And it was like something that just picked up from there. And then, one of my largest party was maybe at the Cow Palace back in San Francisco. It was a Halloween party. It was
I remember that.
Called, yeah, it was, we had about 6,000 people. I did it with a few other promoters, but it was one of my biggest, most funnest party I've ever had. We had a concert and everything like that. And again, it was like I was able to bring two of my businesses that I had as being as a photographer and a content creator, and bringing like the models and everything and combining that and to create another business, which was my entertainment business, right? So that's how I actually got started with at least the nightclub scene. There's other things where I was able to start becoming an entrepreneur. Like I started my first business was, like I was in like when I was doing these photography stuff, part of the models were models I recruited from car shows. Import car shows were huge back in the Bay Area for at least Asian Americans. And it was like called import car shows. And so we would have like huge, like where tricked out custom cars where they're like, like different, like nice rims. It's either no show, no go, or all show, no go, or it's like, hey, that's all show, no go, or that's all go, no show. I mean, it was a culture growing up here in the Bay Area, and even also down into LA. I believe it was like something called like Hot Import Nights. It was like Importorama. What else was there? There was like there's so many car shows going on too, where like, and this is at the same time the internet was coming out, and so this is something where I would actually before like there was digital cameras, I would take photos at the clubs and at the car shows and scan hundreds and hundreds of actual prints. So it was expensive, but being one of the first ones to do that online, it just drove a massive amount of traffic. And then, you know, traffic is gold because you have that audience. You get the audience that you can sell anything to. I mean, well, whatever you have, you can have an audience to sell something to.
Yeah. Yeah. Dang. What a journey. Okay. So as a teenager, okay, you experienced pretty good success. I mean, you were able to purchase your own home. You ran your party promotion company. You had your lifestyle brand, which you didn't mention, with your brother Lloyd, Filthy Drip. And on top of that, you had Pinize.com. Fun fact, my wifey was one of your models. But tell us, how are you able to balance all of that? And what are some of the cons that shaped you or who you are today as an entrepreneur?
You bet. All right. So when balancing all that is a difficult task, right? I mean, there's a saying that I've always said back then, you know, a lot of people dream of success while I stay up working hard at it. I would say that all the time, say it to myself. And I actually found out just recently that Napoleon Hill, one of my favorite authors, I just started reading about maybe 3-4 years ago, actually said that, or something similar. It was something similar to that extent. And it was like, it came full circle when I started learning more about Napoleon Hill. And being able to balance all that was also my biggest failure. When you have so many businesses, I had a clothing brand that was in over 200 stores, and we had 3 locations. We were actually on the legendary Telegraph in Berkeley. I had entertainment business. I had a content marketing, content creation where I was doing like Pinize.com and a bunch of other model websites. And I was still doing club photography, and I was doing all this, and even wedding photography. I was a hustler. I would hustle because, like you said, when I was 26, I was able to purchase a house here in the Bay Area and was able to just do it without even having a regular 9-to-5 job. Right. And it was all through the hustle. But again, it can get the best of you. It's like, it was like I mentioned, it's like you thin yourself out when you have so many different ventures. Unless, one of the things I've learned from it is that if you can at least find that person you trust and to and then have those, I guess, captains or, just people that can help run your businesses that you trust.
Your lieutenants.
Your lieutenants. But me being me, it's kind of hard, right? Because you have this quality control. Like one of my businesses ventures that failed was having a restaurant. I had a restaurant next to the store on Telegraph. It was like a ramen restaurant. And I found that I was looking at Yelp. I know you're not supposed to be doing this, but you look at Yelp, it's like I get great reviews the days when I'm there because I can do the quality control, I can taste the food or whatever it is, and you can keep the quality control. But when you have different cooks and when you have someone else that's kind of doing the quality control that doesn't have the same taste buds as you, it will backfire, and then you get all these other negative reviews. So it's like one of those things where it's like you really, really need to focus on that one thing. And unless, again, for me, it's a little bit difficult to find someone that can actually do what I want. Maybe it's because I'm picky or whatever it is, but it's pretty tough. One of the other, I guess, things that I would make sure I would pay attention to during my businesses is handling finances. Finances is a huge, huge thing when it comes to starting a business. And if you're not if you try to let someone else handle it and you don't handle it, things just get really, really messy. And that's one of the things you have to really learn well. Personally and professionally. As an entrepreneur, as a financial business, but I myself, I had a house. I said had a house back in when I was 26 because I ended up losing the house because I wasn't financially educated. I was a young guy with all this money, spending, splurging, whatever, and I wish I knew what I knew now about investing. I didn't think about investing the money. I was just making the money, and spend the money. There are some people that I know that were doing club, like, you know, some guys I know even to this day who are doing the exact same part as I was, who knew how to save, who knew how to invest, are just like multimillionaires right now. And I mean, it's just one of the things that you just have to really pay attention to as an entrepreneur. It's like handling your finances, handling well.
Yeah. Wow. Dang, you have so many businesses that you started. This is crazy. You're absolutely right. Me too. I have struggles with finances. So recently I've been very, very frugal. There was a time where I had to live out of a van just to save money so that I could buy this house here in Las Vegas. So shout out to all the Bay Area people. If you guys want to save some money, come out to Vegas or Texas, I guess is the place. Yeah. A lot of people, they can't really start their business. Like, they have a lot of ideas, you know, they're just like idea. I think they can't really execute because they're just afraid to fail. It's just this fundamental, like, oh, I'm going to fail. I'm going to make mistakes. And so you've shared a few of your failures. Can you share a few more? How did you overcome? And how did you turn those failures into this fire, this fuego that just helps you keep on going and going and going, the way GaryVee basically said in the first tip?
Well, I mean, your failures become your learning experiences. If you don't fail, you're never going to learn. I can tell anyone something, but they will not listen to me unless they did it themselves and failed, because it becomes that learning experience. So you have to fail in order to get that learning experience. But then again, it's like, if you have that open mindset and you can learn from other people's failures, I think that's the shortcut to success. I mean, if you have no ego and you can just like listen to things, I'll say that's one of my failures too. Having an ego was one of the biggest things that I wish I did not have when I was younger. And being able to accept feedback, because, you know, like, I thought I was the bomb, and I was like, hey, no, I'm untouchable. But no. Now when I look back at things, I was like, man, I wish I didn't have an ego. I wish I kind of like took a step back and took feedback and learn, like, you know, listen to what other people are seeing, because, you know, I was just narrow-minded instead of like growth-minded and like open-minded. And being able to learn from like the failures is huge. But like another thing where I feel like one of my lessons is, again, I did mention like the finances, being able to handle your finances, and, you know, good habits. I had actually some bad habits, like back in the days. You know, not sleeping is a bad habit. You know, like how he said, don't sleep. And now I need my 8 hours, and I enjoy my 8 hours, and I can still wake up really early in the morning and be super productive. You know, maybe when we're younger, like we can get by with that, but, you know, sleeping is one of the biggest things. I feel like, you know, getting that rest where you can like really fully concentrate. It's like, it's everything what I do. It's like, whether it's I'm working on something, whether I'm going to like do an activity, getting that rest, you'll get like your full performance. And I mean, and then that's like, what else? I mean, there's other things that I can learning, being able to have people that you can trust, like having, you know, being able to find like that supportive group. Like, if I wish like I knew more about masterminds. Like, you know, masterminds back nowadays is something that I truly believe in, because if you have a mastermind, like my SEO video show came out of a mastermind. It's something where you tell in front of people what you're going to do, and you're held accountable for it. You know, back then, not having a mastermind, not being accountable, not being held accountable, it's like you can let things slide by. Like, oh, I'll do it next week. Oh, I'll handle that later. But being able to have like a mastermind, a group of people that will hold you accountable is huge. Like, I think that's a really big goal. And that's actually something that came out of Think and Grow Rich from Napoleon Hill, one of my favorite books.
You're hitting all the spots right now, because ego, that is my number one failure too. I have a big ego, fell on my face many times because of it. And so this year, that's definitely one of my meditations. Sleep. I love sleep now. I sleep so much. Char's like, dude, you're sleeping at like 8 o'clock. But I love waking up at 5 and like pushing myself to wake up at 4. So I'm trying to be in the 4 a.m. crew, but we'll see. It's a progress, work in progress. Mastermind. This is the biggest failure I've faced. I think all of my childhood growing up. There we can go deep into that when you're here in person. But I think it is important to surround yourself with people that are going to support you, but not only just support you, but someone that you're going to learn from. And this is what I love about you, Dre, because every day, like, you're always doing something to push yourself, and I see you and I watch you and I'm just like, oh my God, like Dre is just like stepping up. His show is getting better and better and better. I'm just like, how do I do this? And so this is the first episode. I am inspired by you. So this is it. So this is kind of like me applying what I've learned from you. So define for our audience your version of a growth mindset. And okay, tell them about the time your roof fell over your head. Well, it fell off. Your roof fell, literally. Give us examples of things that you do intentionally to just push yourself. Like actionable examples that you do intentionally to push yourself.
Actionable examples that I do to push myself. Well, as you can see behind me, learning is huge. Like I'm a forever learner. There's 1 year where I read maybe about 38 books, 38 books. Like there's a lot more. I probably only read about maybe 60% of the books behind me, and being able to like learn new things, apply them, and also knowing what you are weak in and working at it. Like I was a very, very, being a priority promoter, I was not as shy speaking on the mic or speaking on camera. But when I entered the corporate world, I kind of got a little intimidated and shy. And I didn't know how to really communicate because, I come from, like not necessarily the street, but you can't talk slang I can't talk the way I talk in a corporate environment. So you have to learn how to speak slow. You got to learn how to like pause and stop saying ums, ahs, you knows, and urs and all these little things that we do on the street.
Yada da da.
Call each other. Yada da. I mean, we can't do that. And it's funny because I've seen it like when it does slip when I first started, when I first entered the corporate world around 2011 or something like that. I was turning 2012, and when I see it slip, you just see a blank stare. They're like, what do you say? And it's so being able to like work on my speech, my communication skills was something that I saw that I was weak in. I worked at it. I saw that, hey, if I wanted to do more, if I know how to do marketing, it's a skill set, I need to learn how to sell it. So I started reading sales books and learn how to sell certain things. If I wanted to do more like, maybe paid advertising and stuff like that, I would learn how to do that. And, and I'll go like really, really deep in. So like right now, just recently, I started the show, the SEO Video Show. It's a live stream. I did not know how to live stream at all. I first learned about live streaming back when we were in lockdown last year around February. So I bought some courses. It took about three months to like kind of learn the whole thing, learn the software, learn what services are out there, testing some equipment. And then from March, April, May, and then March, April, May, June, and then July, I actually started the show after 3 months of just learning about it. And being able to just teach yourself new things is something that I feel will open up your mind. Having that growth mindset will open up yourself to like new possibilities and opportunities that you can create for yourself. Like right now, I'm not making any money or anything like that from the SEO Video Show, but I love doing it. I'm having fun doing it. I'm learning a lot from it because there's a part of the show where I have to do some research on certain things. And by the time I'm doing the research, I learn while I'm doing research. And then at the same time, when I talk about it on the show, I'm learning again by kind of like, saying it out to the world. So that's kind of like where you can open your mindset as in like adversity. If you are resilient, you have to be resilient. Like adversity, like you mentioned, like the roof literally fell on my head. Well, on the floor. I just got really wet because it got flooded. But I was like, I didn't get down and cry. I mean, what am I going to do? I'm just going to put more water in the floor on my floor. So it's like you just have to really, really handle adversity and be resilient. I mean, I even was, even my place got robbed at one time, and I was burglarized.
Dang.
And it's like, it's like you get hit once you hit these certain things. It's you learn, not necessarily you learn from it, but you experience it, because if how you'll feel if it ever does happen again. Knock on wood, that doesn't happen again. But it's one of those things where. How people say they start from the bottom and now they're there or up or wherever like that. I started from the middle. I came from a middle class family. So I came from a middle class family. So I knew and then when I hit rock bottom, now that hurt because I never actually felt that. When I lost my house and I had to foreclose it, I actually moved back to my parents' house when I was like 32 years old. And, that hurts, but I did experience being at the middle. So I knew what I had to do to get back to that middle part. And then, and then again, it's like, you have to do the steps. And then now I know how to be where I'm at now, and being able to kind of like manifest certain things, like, Think and Grow Rich. Napoleon Hill, he goes, you have to say it out there. It's like, they call it the secret or something like that. Right. And you have to just put it out there. When I actually picked up myself, actually got a job after I lost my house. I went to, just like Dan Locke said, hey, if you want to make some money, just get a job real quick and then you can handle it. So, I got a job, and then I was able to move out and get my own apartments. And we actually lived in the same dorm. I mean, the same domain apartments in Oakland, right? Like that's where I actually first met you. Yeah. So that was part of my process. And while I was there, I wrote a check to myself. It said $500,000. I believe I cashed it. Like I dated it, 5 years in advance, and by 2016, I was able to cash that check and buy a house. Now I live in a house again. So I was like, wow. If you put it out there, and but then again, people, you can't just think it and it will come. Some people think like, oh, manifest it and it'll come. No. You have to actually tell yourself and have a plan to get to that point. I had a plan to cash that check, with what I was doing, with all the side hustles I was doing. And then, so with there, if you look at my Instagram, I wrote another check for the next 5 years, which I think I have to cash in about a couple of years for $1 million. And I'm on track on that. I'm on like great track. So I may be able to cash it even earlier. So being able to just when I say manifest it, you can manifest it. Like it's almost like having a mastermind, because you're putting it out there, you're telling certain people, and then you're held accountable. I'm writing a blank check. I wrote $1 million check to myself, posted it on Instagram so people can see it. I'm like, hey, I'm going to cash this check. I dated it to I think it's 2023 from what I remember. Yeah. And so interview me again in 2023 and I'll show you how I cash that check.
Nice. Nice. Okay. So reading books, and then I too followed you with Napoleon Hill, which is funny. And then he has a second book, which is Outwitting the Devil. Also, a crazy book, really messed with my mind, actually. If you guys haven't read it, definitely read his books. This imposter syndrome that you're talking about, with speech and communication, I too also experienced that, because I'm from the Philippines and then moved to Hawaii. And so I have this Filipino accent with the Hawaiian Hanabara Days accent. It's crazy. My accent is just all over the place. And so this growth mindset, you can't just say, oh, I want $1 million. I guess what you're trying to say is you have to reverse engineer it, and incrementally, marginally, every single day, every hour, every minute, every second, you have to work on this goal, this North Star. Mm-hmm. It's not just, hey, I'm going to get from here to here. There's no way. You have to try to figure out how to get there. So,
No,
a lot
yeah.
of a lot of good tips.
No, that's huge, because I mean, I know a lot of people misunderstand the secret, or like, you know, that whole manifesting thing. They think like, you know, oh, I'll just say it. Oh yeah, I'll run, you know, like, oh yeah, more, give me money. What, you know,
Right. Lottery.
Yeah.
Like, let me just get the lottery.
You can't. It's like you have to have an actionable plan to get there. But I mean, there's one other book that I do want to recommend to other people that are looking into like being, for at least personal development, actually being a good, you know, good networker, which I feel is a huge skill. Is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. As like, you know, to answer the question of like how to make money, you know, how to be an entrepreneur, you know, without any money. The biggest thing that I can recommend is like connecting with people, like getting that skill to connect with people, networking your butt off to, because you know what? One of those people that you're networking may have the money that you need, and they may believe on what your idea or whatever it is. It's like, you don't need the money. You can use someone else's money that believes in you. And you just have to be just that person that is like, you know, sharp and like has motivated, well rested, have that skill set, whatever skill set it is, and combining different skills, right? I mean, I combined like my marketing skills, my public speaking skills, and sales skills, and all of it, and put it together into the SEO video show, which one day may get sponsored or whatever. But I still love it, and it's a combination of skills. Because I'm hitting the right people. I'm hitting a bunch of CEOs. I'm getting like emails. Oh, I love what you do. I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that these C-level people are watching it, which is like a really, really cool thing to feel. Like I feel awesome. Like, wow, I'm meeting like these C-level people. And it's something I'm doing for fun too. And I just love it.
Yeah, while you're saying that, I'm imagining you with all these skills like a baseball card, and then you have this communication skill, this marketing skill, and then like how many stars you have. Very cool stuff. Cool idea. Someone execute it. But in regards to free things, all these books can be found online for free. You can literally just YouTube them and get like those hacks on the chapters. So feel free to do that, because I do that sometimes when I don't want to purchase something. So Dre,
there's also an app that I use all the time. Like I actually I listen to the app first. It's called Blinkist. And I would actually listen to the Blinkist first and then read it. So like, because I tend to, you know, the way I read really fast, and I can really comprehend it if I just kind of have the gist of it and just kind of like this, when I read it, and then I'll highlight certain things and then, you know, put it back and then go back to it again. Just maybe like look at the highlights. But yeah, you can understand things a lot easier when you actually get the summary ahead of time. Because you're gonna see it progress and like that. Oh, that's what they were talking about. That's what they're talking about. But yeah, so Blinkist is something that I actually subscribe to as well, which is, I feel it's a cool tool.
Personally, there is another book. We're just gonna. What I like to do is I like to take those little tips and apply them right away. And that's a way for me to remember those tips and then start to build different habits. But Dre, before I ask my last question, tell our viewers where they can learn how to rank on the first page of Google. And please share one actionable tip to do right now, immediately, to organically grow your online business, whether it be for e-commerce, for your online consulting, or maybe your software as a service company.
You bet. Okay. Of course, I got to plug my show, SEO Video Show. You can just YouTube it. You can search SEO show, SEO Video Show. I'll come up number one on YouTube. But the one tip I can tell every single business, any startup, any consultant, is to set up your Google My Business. Google My Business is a Google product, and Google loves Google. Google will rank Google. If you search my name, you search Paul Andre de Vera, you'll see a Google My Business and listing, which looks like a knowledge panel, which is like the whole side space of search. You'll sometimes see something pop up. And it's when you set that up, you are able to tie in your website, get a backlink there, and you're able to let Google know that your business exists, that you are a real entity. Because nowadays, when Google ranks certain things, They don't want to rank garbage. They want to rank people that are real entities that have expertise and trustworthiness and authoritativeness on them. And the way you can do that is by registering your Google My Business with real websites, a real phone number, your picture, whatever it is. It's one of those things that you should do first, whether you're a consultant, startup, whatever. I mean, even enterprise companies have been seeing a lot of great visibility, like in different regions. I've been doing that for like a bunch of companies, and it's another way to let your brand be known out there, because right, like not everyone's always going to visit your website, but people will always visit Google, and then at least they see your brand on Google. So building a brand like on all different places is a way to let Google know that you are like a trustworthy entity.
I think you've done that for me once. So tell our audience, how does Paul Andre win deals? Share your strategy. So basically, when a prospect finds out about you, how do you take them from your first meeting to a closed one?
What I always do is, like, this goes into either landing a job or like, even the client, is you do all your research ahead of time and just blow them away. Like, do something where, like, if you are going to provide, like, say, if I'm going to provide SEO service for like a company, I'm going to go ahead and give them, like, show them what I can do ahead of time, like for free, and just being able to show that value ahead of time for free. Like, one story is that, like, when I was interviewing for the position I'm here, I was at Workday, right? I was coming towards like the last round of interviews, and you know what I did? So I was like, I'm going to rank number 1 for this job position. So if you search marketing global lead, I show up number 1. So like I was telling the hiring manager, like, hey, you know what? Why don't you go search this job position, search marketing global lead, and like, let me know what you see. Then I'm actually like in front of them. They're like, oh, is this you? I'm like, yeah. And I could do this for the company if you hire me. Boom.
That's awesome. I love it. Thanks so much for coming to the show, Dre. Stick around, enjoy your drink, live chat with our viewers, and of course, try to engage with them as much as you can, and stick around. Let me try to transition here. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed learning more about Dre and his journey on becoming a successful entrepreneur. From a high school student with no money to a high-tech SEO organic expert at Workday. Now he is the founder and producer of the SEO Video Show. I believe that this is a journey that anyone can go on, and that the biggest mistake that you can ever make is fearing failure itself, when in reality, it's those failures that give you the experiences required to build a really good business, a business that you ultimately love. If you want to be inspired, if you want to learn how to grow your business with SEO, follow him and subscribe to his channel, the SEO.video. Learn as much as you can for free. You don't need money to get started. You can start by tuning in and applying the tips and the strategies you've heard here today. It will change you if you let it. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. And until next time, keep on closing. Peace. Becoming a successful entrepreneur isn't easy, but it's not impossible. Subscribe to my channel today, and together, let's figure out how to grow.
Bring that ass back like a boom, 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 boom.